batteries, bike to e-bike conversions, battery diagnosis and repairs, mid-drive conversion kits, ready-made e-bikes, service and repair. Get in touch today at lebikes.co.uk or call or WhatsApp 07355 301 029. Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Liam Angel, aka Straight Shooting LJ, and welcome to another LE Bikes opinion piece podcast and vlog. Now, something very interesting that is about to come into effect is non-foldable e-bikes being banned on the TFL networks. Now, let me bring you up to speed with this. From the 26th of March 2025, non-folding e-bikes will be banned from the 31st of March on most of the Transport for London TFL network, it has announced. The operator said customers travelling with these kinds of e-bikes, including ones converted to e-bikes using kits, will not be permitted to travel on most services such as the Tube, Overground, Elizabeth Line and Docklands Light Railway, DLR. It comes after the union ASLEF said earlier this month it was considering balloting members for strike action over e-bikes being allowed on London Underground. TFL said it had made the decision to ensure the safety of customers and staff, and added that it had carried out a review of safety of e-bikes on the network. More on that later. TFL drew on its own analysis, which it said electric bikes adapted bikes using electronic conversion kits posed a greater fire risk than purpose-built e-bikes, although it pointed out it could be hard to differentiate between modified and unmodified e-bikes. Definitely more on that later. It said it was instigating the ban until improved product safety measures are in place for converted cycles, batteries and chargers. It comes after a small amount of e-bike fires on the transport network, including one which exploded and caught fire on a tube station platform in northwest London in February 2025. That was Rayners Lane. And also there was a e-bike fire in Sutton as well, which is kind of deep south, just outside of London. The operator said it would keep these changes under review pending any future changes to legislation by government regarding e-bike safety standards. I'm going to come back to that as well. Existing rules around non-folding e-bikes and e-bikes will remain in place, including rules stipulating that no e-bikes are permitted on the IFS cloud cable car, and no non-folding bikes are allowed on buses or trams. TFL stressed non-foldable e-bikes will continue to be permitted on the Silvertown Cycle Shuttle service, Woolwich Ferry, river services depending on the operator, and coach services depending on the operator. Dan Parsons from London Bridge e-bike shop Fully Charged said the problem is differentiating between the good and the bad. By banning all, it muddies the waters, and the UK population doesn't necessarily know the difference between good and bad and just assumes that all e-bikes are bad. In an environment where we need to increase the amount of green transportation, we're throttling that. That is a good point. I'm going to come back to that in a bit as well. Lily Matson, TFL's Chief Safety, Health and Environment Officer, said we've been working closely with the London Fire Brigade on a review of safety risks associated with e-bikes on our network. This safety ban will play a vital role in keeping our transport system safe for everyone, and we continue to work with partners in government and beyond to improve e-bike safety. So it is one of them was when from London Fire Brigade, Charlie Pugsley, London Fire Brigade's Deputy Commissioner for Prevention, Protection and Policy, said the brigade welcomes this move as it acknowledges the risk that we know e-bike batteries can pose. I'll come back to that as well. While we recognise the sustainable benefits of e-bikes and micro-mobility generally bring to our city, the reality is that across London we have been seeing an e-bike or e-scooter fire every other day on average. I'll come back to that. And we have particular concern about the risk posed by conversion kits or modified e-bikes, he explained. You know what? A few things to kind of pick apart in that. First one being, I'll start this in order. TFL banning most non-foldable e-bikes from the 31st of March 2025. The first thing that kind of strikes me is how quick this has been done. Because the fire in Rayners Lane was in February of 2025. It took them under a month to come up with, right, we're just going to ban non-folding e-bikes. most of the time non-folding e-bikes are actually not allowed on the TFL networks anyway. Well, I'll correct that. Non-folding bikes in general are actually not allowed on the TFL networks from 9 o'clock. I think it's from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and from 4 or 4:30 till about 7:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. Give or take about half an hour each way on both of those times. So during peak hours, you're not allowed them on anyway. So that's e-bikes and regular non-folding bikes. But to ban all e-bikes, and I'm in agreement with the gentleman from Dan Parsons from Fully Charged Electric Bikes. I'm in agreement with him, where by banning all of them, you're putting all of them under the same umbrella, and it gives ammo to those who have an agenda against e-bikes. As I've discussed before, guys say like Adrian Chiles and the BBC, gives them even more fuel to the fire in their agenda against electric bikes. So I look at it as, I can see there's two sides to this. I can totally understand safety and banning non-foldable electric bikes. The weird thing is there is a bit of a loophole here, because in terms of them kind of being really wary of converted e-bikes, or bikes on with rear hub motors or mid-drive motors with the conversion kits, you can actually convert folding bikes into electric bikes using those hubs. You can actually do that. So it's a bit weird that they went for one and not both. I'm not complaining about it, but it's kind of odd. So as well, it's a case of, I don't think there necessarily needed to be a straight up ban. I think TFL could have just said, right, if you're getting on the TFL network with an e-bike, folding or not, as long as you take the battery off, remove the battery, then you can come on the networks. To me, that would have been a bit better, a happy medium, because then what it does is it does eliminate the chance of something catching fire almost completely. Because if the battery's not connected to anything, there's a lot less of a likelihood of it just randomly combusting. We have seen examples of that happening. I'm not saying it doesn't. That's why I said almost. So just to ban them, just to ban all non-folding e-bikes, I think is a bit draconian, a bit of a sweeping gesture. Obviously it's under review. They have mentioned it's under review, so we'll see. They'll probably give it 6 months to a year and then reevaluate. But there have been obviously companies in the news such as Unit Pack Power with their triangular batteries, a bunch of them being recalled. There have been those stories. But UL certification of e-bike batteries is something I've said I'm in favor of, because anything to do with safety and improving it is a good thing. No real drawback. Batteries may cost more, but to guarantee safety, what price can you put on that? So there's that. But it's one of them ones where, again, it's a lot of these rogue traders, these cowboys, a lot of these people who have converted e-bikes, not knowing what they're doing, they're way overpowered, because there's a lot of, and I said, I always hate to demonize them, but there are a lot of these delivery riders doing things on the cheap. We get inquiries here at LE Bikes about, we'll quote someone and they're like, oh, I was hoping that everything would cost 200 quid. And it's like, what? You were hoping kit and a quality battery is going to cost a couple hundred quid? No. You can't do that. Like, you cannot skimp on safety. You cannot shortcut stuff. You can't be paying the lowest possible price and thinking, yeah, this is going to be cool. I'm going to be able to run this bike into the ground. No, because if corners get cut, then you end up paying a hell of a lot heavier a price down the road. So it is one of them ones where I said we get that kind of thing. So I said I can understand it from a safety perspective, why TFL have done what they have done, but I think they didn't need to ban all non-folding e-bikes from the TFL networks. I think I said they could have just said, all right, if you're going to bring these bikes on, you need to remove the battery before you come in the station. Remove it, keep it removed whilst you are on the TFL network, going in through stations, on and off trains until you're completely off the station premises. To me, that would have been a better way to go about it, rather than a draconian ban, which perception-wise, as Dan Parsons from Fully Charged said, the perception of e-bikes is already quite negative, and this kind of thing is going to add more fuel to that fire, in my opinion. There's a couple of other things as well. Yeah, I mean, a small number of e-bike fires, yes. I mean, one fire is too many, let alone a couple in the space of a few months. But there's always a lack of context in these stories. And as I've said before, there is always a lack of context when you hear e-bike fire. The Rayners Lane fire, for instance, there's like 14 seconds of an isolated clip. You can barely even see what type of e-bike it is. It's like, what was the battery? What was the motor rating? It's like, how many... There's just so much. How was the battery kept? Was it left outside? Was the motor damaged? Was the wiring covered properly? I mean, I've seen... There's one thing that I think I posted on my personal socials. And there was a build that I saw in West London. Wow. You know, have a look at it yourself. I'll put a picture up of it. Have a look at that. And that is the kind of thing that I see on a daily basis, along with batteries being wrapped up in gaffer tape and cling film. That is the kind of thing that irritates the hell out of me and spoils it for everyone else. Because that kind of bike, I would not want anywhere near my place of work, my home. I wouldn't want that. If I was, say, Sadiq Khan, I wouldn't want that anywhere near the TFL network either. So that kind of bike that I just put up the picture of, that is the kind of bike that is the kind of electric bike that has contributed to this ban, because look how unsafe it looked. So I said I can actually understand it, but I don't think the TFL needed to go that far with it. Now it is interesting that TFL's Chief Safety and Health Environment Officer Lily Matson has been working closely with the London Fire Brigade on a review of the safety risks associated with e-bikes on the network. Okay, cool. You know what? The London Fire Brigade are a great entity to work with in regards to fire safety. They're the best entity when it comes to that. So I think this has been a while. This has been brewing for a while. And as I mentioned earlier about this kind of coming in quickly, it's the timing of it, where it's like a few weeks after the Rayners Lane fire, and it's like, whoa, it's like, where did that come from? But when I think about it, this had to be a while in coming. And also as well, it's interesting that e-scooters were banned from the TFL network for literally the same reason. Because there was, which station was it? It was on the District line, Parsons Green. Parsons Green, there was a e-scooter that caught fire there, and that facilitated the ban on e-scooters on the TFL networks. So to me, it's kind of been almost an inevitability that it would happen with e-bikes as well, because they both use similar types of batteries. They both use lithium-ion batteries. So it was a bit odd that they banned one and not the other, that they banned e-scooters but not e-bikes. That was always a bit odd to me. I was actually surprised that they didn't go for both, but glad they didn't at the time. So it was almost an inevitability that e-bikes were going to get banned on the TFL networks, because e-scooters have been banned for, I think, probably about 3 years now. So yeah, it was interesting. But one thing that was said by, was it Charlie Pugsley, talking about the reality is that across London we have been seeing an e-bike or e-scooter fire every other day on average. No, no, it's not that prolific. I'm sorry, but no, it's not that prolific. I think he's exaggerating that for effect. Because at the end of the day, like there's a lot of e-bikes in London, obviously, but them catching fire, yeah, it that sounds like hyperbole just to make a point. Yeah, I think it's one of them ones where, yeah, see, this is the thing. When you get something like this, you get that negative perception and you get the hyperbole that goes with it. So it is one of them where it has been said, and just having a look at some of the statistics quickly around around e-bike fires in London. Major urban areas have the highest rate of blazes, with London, which did not have injury figures for 2022, recording the largest number of fires. That makes sense because it's a densely populated city. But cases of e-bike and e-scooter fires in the capital amounted to 401 during a 3-year period, injuring 120 and killing 3. So 401 fires over the space of 3 years. So that's not on average, and that's e-bikes and e-scooters. So that's not one every other day. It just isn't. 52 weeks in a year, 365 days. It's like literally, yeah, it's like 401 over 3 years. So that's not one every other day. So as I said, Charlie Pugsley with the hyperbole there. But this is one of the issues about draconian bans like this, is that it just fuels negative perception, and people will throw out statistics, and then you will see that perception get warped, and then the demonization of e-bikes again. And again, that's where a frustration kind of lies for me personally, as a very regular e-bike rider and commuter. So yeah, I mean, the union and those statistics, that I just read a second ago, it was from an Evening Standard investigation. So that was their numbers. That was their numbers that they come up with. So just in case anyone wants a source. So it's one of them where I said one fire is too many, but it is one of them was the dangers of e-bikes are very much over publicized and overhyped, and there is a lot of hyperbole. And I'm not just saying that because I own an electric bike company, not saying it just because of that, but fact is fact. So I said this ban doesn't help. And one of the other things as well, the union, I think it was ASLEF, trying to organise a strike around e-bikes not being allowed on the TFL network. I don't think that was necessary. I think that's someone at ASLEF thinking, right, we've got another excuse to strike here, let's use it. Because, like, just talk to TFL and ask them. So obviously this ban's come into place, avoiding strike action. You could have just asked for it. You didn't need to threaten a potential strike until this was done. Didn't really have to. Because as I said, this looks like it's been building for a while. The fact that TFL have been analysing and collaborating with the London Fire Brigade shows that this is not a quick thing. This is something that's been done for a while. It's been brewing for a while. But you know what? I want to know your thoughts on this. Should TFL be banning all non-folding e-bikes on the TFL networks? Should they? Or should they have just said you can bring them on as long as you remove the battery? I want to know your views on this. Also as well, does TFL banning electric bikes on the TFL networks fuel more negative perception towards e-bikes? Does it change your view on electric bikes as well? You know what, I have been Liam Angel, and it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you on this LE Bikes opinion piece and vlog and podcast. lebikes.co.uk is where you can find our official website. We sell Bafang mid-drive conversion kits. We also do conversions of bicycles into electric bikes. Also, we are an official reseller for Engwe electric bikes and Himiway long range electric bikes as well. We do repairs, we do servicing, we also do battery diagnosis and repair as well. So if you've got a battery, an e-bike battery that maybe isn't giving you the juice it used to, then check out lebikes.co.uk. drop us a line there as well. 07535 301 029 is the LE Bikes number if you want to call us and have a chat. We are LE Bikes Ltd and LE Bikes. We're on Instagram, we're on X aka Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. Wherever you are, we are there too. At LE Bikes on YouTube for our quick tip series. Our podcast and vlog can be found there as well, and so much more as well. So the quick tips and tricks, and so much more video content to help keep your e-bike running smoothly and give you more information on e-bikes in general if you're new to the area. As said, once again, I have been Liam Angel, aka Straight Shooting LJA, and until next time, happy riding people and stay safe. Looking for an electric bike? Want to convert a bike you already have? Or just looking for an extra battery for your e-bike? Check out our range at lebikes.co.uk.